Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and welcome back to the roast of Los Angeles Thieves. Everyone's been getting in on the act. Crimsix reckons New York has been smoking them in scrims as of late. Ake says that Octane just straight up has to go, and even Nadeshot getting in on the act. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you were new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really helps the channel. Loads of great support the last few days. Really appreciate it guys. First of all, this I thought was pretty cool. I guess content coming up soon for the OpTic guys. We're going to talk about New York as well actually, because I am Vengeance. I'm Fat Man, he's back in business. New York still have a chance to make the winners bracket here for the major. They play one game today against Minnesota, then I believe they play tomorrow against Toronto. So both winnable series, at least in theory, if they continue the improvements that they have shown so far since bringing in Paul Eggs. But speaking of royalty, previous member of their team, he's now joining Team War alongside Diamond Con, Venom and Proloot because he gets officially released from the New York subliners yesterday. Today we thank royalty for his time as a part of New York as this chapter comes to a close, etc, etc. Like who called it right guys? I mean it's just incredible stuff, isn't it? When royalty joined this team, basically everyone said, look, this is not going to be a long-term thing. Sooner rather than later, he's going to have to go. That's exactly what turns out to be the case. He goes up with a tweet longer as well. New York subliners update describing how, let me just like this real quick, how he says, as you guys have probably seen, New York decided to release me after the brief stint on the team. Disheartened to say the least. I've grinded through challenges for the last 2 years in hopes of getting a chance back where I feel I belong. Obviously, I didn't perform to the standard I hold myself to, had a hard time getting comfortable in the role, and with us struggling to get on the same page, it made it even harder given the lack of time and caliber of teams we had to play during stage 1. Nonetheless, I appreciate the opportunity. Hopefully, I can get another opportunity again at some point or another. Still a solid player, I think, just, the role he was put into. We saw really, what Neptune was doing when he was in Royalty's role, just getting no damage at all and dropping, 0 numbers, effectively. Royalty did the same thing, playing a similar role. It just didn't work out for them, right, as they say, struggling to get on the same page. Crimsix reckons, look, put in a difficult situation, legitimately feel bad for you as you deserve more than we gave you, feel like you got caught in the crossfire of our issues, and despite that, still an incredible teammate. So definitely good gas from Crimsix. Maybe Royalty will get another shot at another point. But yeah, that's the thing. It's just difficult for players like Royalty when you do get a chance. This, I guess, is what Havoc is trying to avoid. That a guy like Royalty gets his shot, doesn't really work out for him, and maybe that's not all on him, right? It's kind of on the team dynamic and everything that went on. He tried to fill a gap on that team, and the issue with filling a gap a lot of the times you don't look particularly good statistically. And then the next opportunity that arises, people aren't going to go for Royalty, they're going to go for Havoc or whoever else. So if you're a challenges player, you do have to kind of avoid a situation like that. Then again, if you really are an undeniable talent, you're probably going to show up regardless. The other side of this equation, of course, is the Clayster piece, right? We talked about the Clay and Crim drama that went down on the timeline last night. If any CDL or challenger teams need a fill-in for scrims whenever, just hit me up. Playing some today is nice to actually get some competitive reps in. So Clay is super keen to get back involved right here in either playing in the Minnesota Open side of the tournament or getting back in a team at some point or another. Of course, right now, it's very difficult to see where a trade could even be made, because despite the fact that some main ARs are struggling right now, we'll talk about Octane here in a second, it's not clear that a main AR trade is actually the way you want to go in this game, because it's not like Clay wasn't struggling on New York at the start of this year either, so who knows what opportunity rises for him, if any, at some point. But especially given the situation with Crimsix going on, I'm sure the friction that is happening there, I'm sure he wants to get back on a team and kind of prove that they made the wrong decision, because that's basically what happened when Dallas Empire went from 5v5 to 4v4. Clay was the odd man out again on that situation. Crimsix stayed on the team. Over the course of the year, Dallas probably the slightly better team than New York was, but they certainly had their good matchups last time. Hopefully that can happen again if Clay gets a spot, but as I say, it's very much difficult to see where that could even be the case. And even for other many ARs that are underperforming right now, the likes of Octane, certainly we'll discuss here in a second, where does he go? What opportunities are there? Especially if you're underperforming, what team is actually going to make a move on that, with only 12 teams here in the league and potentially massive buyouts for both of these players. This also just to mention for the Toronto front, because actually some interesting statements here from one of the co-founders over at Toronto, kind of similar words in a way, even, probably harsher words than what Nadeshot uses here, we'll discuss in a couple of minutes. But Bant says, GG's Paris lost 3-2. As we said yesterday, right, they've lost, 14 out of the last 16 hardpoints they played. Not blaming our loss on the P3 spawn, we suck at hardpoints, just frustrating having to deal with some of this stuff. So, frustrations about the game, understandably so, the spawns didn't make much sense. But as Adam Adamu says over at Toronto Ultra, blame having COVID, spawns, or whatever, we've won, one hardpoint since the start of Major 1, maybe 2 of them, pretty sure they've won 2, but yeah, as I say, not particularly pretty. This league is too competitive to rely on 2-3-5, need everyone on their game to fix this, we need to be better, our goal is to win, not to play. So quite the statement really coming out, if you're reading this from your boss, and you've just tweeted out something blaming the spawns, you're probably thinking, okay, I'm going to say it. I'm pretty sure Cammy did that and then deleted the tweet, so, we shall see how it goes. But of course, when you are at the top and you're winning events, and now you find yourselves where Toronto are now, obviously something's got to give right at some point. Either the team improves drastically, or they're going to make some sort of move. Because that's what happens when the team falls from grace, something has to give usually for a team to get back to a top position. Of course, Los Angeles Thieves, they started off pretty hot as well, and now they find themselves below Paris Legion in the Stage 2 standings because they haven't even won a series. At least Paris have won one. So yeah, yesterday's series, honestly pretty tragic. Like, they got outslayed beyond belief. Octane says we're just on such different pages right now. The game feels impossible in the respawns. GG's LAG lost 3-2. Pretty tragic, really, looking through the other guys' tweets like Envoy and Kenny. All they tweet out is like GG's LAG. They just tweet out this part of the tweets. And like, if you look through their last few tweets, it's like, okay, GG's LAG lost 3-2. GG's Minnesota lost 3-2. Like, you know, again and again and again. Same for OpTic, of course. And as Octane says, sorry to the fans for playing badly. It's hella frustrating. Promise y'all I'm going 200% every day. It's just not happening right now. Ending with Seattle, they play tonight. Then a loser's run into the major. So definitely Octane's been massively underperforming what he was expected to do coming into this lineup. I mean, a 0.65 yesterday. Like, yeah, minus 37 kills. Just not going to cut it, unfortunately. I don't even think he's had one series where I've seen and thought, okay, yeah, Octane was the pickup this team needed. So look, what does this team have to do to change things around? That is the biggest question mark. Nadeshot, of course, definitely knows that something has to give. He says this yesterday: I want 100 Thieves Esports to win more than I wanted to win as a player. As soon as you feel the exhilaration of a championship moment, it's a high you're always going to be chasing. I want to build a dynasty. Let's do this together. Slowly but surely, I believe. Tweets that out last night. Goes on to tweet this thread as well. A championship won with 100 Thieves will be celebrated better than any other organization in the world. I respect our competitors, but from the top down, I truly don't feel they want it as badly as we do. If you're a player just starting your career or a seasoned veteran, come win with us. Man, this isn't throwing shade at any other organizations or at our current players. This is a mentality we are trying to instill across our entire esports program. We take all the good and the bad on the chin. I'm just trying to remind everyone what we're about. Take it how you will. And Jacob, of course, tweeted like he's going to try his best to deal with this situation and get something done. Of course, despite the fact saying he's not throwing any shade at the current players, he is nonetheless tweeting this right after Los Angeles Thieves go 0-4 after a pretty difficult time. And if you guys follow the Valorant scene, there's a pretty good channel out there. It's called like TacticalRab Valorant News or something. Does good daily Valorant coverage. And well, if you guys follow that scene, you'll know that Nadeshot did a pretty similar tweet to this a couple of weeks ago when 100 Thieves Valorant team was doing pretty awful. And pretty much the very next day, they made some major roster changes, getting rid of the two players they'd signed to the roster like literally 2 weeks before. So, well, who knows what happens here, right? But Nadeshot's making it very clear. We're here to win. If the team isn't winning caliber, we're going to do what it takes to win. If that takes spending money, whatever, we're going to do what it takes to be number one. And of course, this team right now does not look like at all it's going to be number one in the game. Therefore, some big moves are going to be made. Aix reckons Octane's got to go. Crimsix reckons that the team's been struggling very much behind the scenes already, not just in their matches. And probably they'll make some sort of big blockbuster move if they are going to make a switch.
That scrim to Boston was... Dude, that scrim to Boston was like the only one we've lost. Literally. And I'm kind of glad we got 1v5 because then no one will see us coming. No one will see us coming. People think we're still... LAT was losing full today, right? And I was sitting there thinking, bro, they probably think we're still bad. So when they lose to us, they gotta be, and they want to chalk the scrim. It was pretty funny.
What
they suck. That's the problem. They suck.
Yo, guys, look coming from the other side.
Bro, just a major roster change. That's the solution.
So what's your roster change?
Not only that, Ben. Let me pull this up. Because we're acting like S&D is their only problem. They were 14-3 in stage 1 in hardpoint. They're currently 2-5 in hardpoint. So it's not just S&D. This team, this entire stage has sucked, top to bottom, off all modes. It's not like it's just an S&D issue. They don't need an S&D sub. This team is just broken, and they need a roster change.
So just to sum it up, I just think keep Envoy and keep Kenny, right? I mean, you want to keep those two.
I think right now, those are the base that you build off of. Yeah,
right. York just made changes.
Well, no, I'm saying that was a bad example. Well, I mean, I'm saying that's the only example because no one else will trade their main our way.
I mean, yeah, it's really difficult to trade because what's so funny? What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? What's so funny?
You didn't see it, Tommy?
Yo, I'm on the flank right now. Yo,
I got a phone call.
Dog, breathe.
Who's he talking to?
You want to blow it up?
Oh my god, bro.
We can blow it up. That's what I'm trying to say. We can blow it up. Cap gone.
He said we.
Sam gone. Yep. Drazah gone? Oh, for sure.
Dude, this guy passed the clown.
This guy is a moron, bro. He's a fucking moron.
Prince? Okay.
Pat, hang up the phone with Nadeshot. Hang up.
Oh, my bad. Yo, let me call you back. I got a flank right now.
Thank you, Pat. Tell Matt I say hey.
All right. I'll be on the first flight out to LA. Yeah, all right. Yeah. They need to try and hunt down a trade that they believe works for them. And yeah,
I agree with you, Pat. I agree with you.
I'm trading Octane. Like, he's been absolutely abysmal this entire stage. He was a letdown at stage 1 playoffs, right? He played actually really badly, even though they got, what, 6th, I think?
Drazah plays like a flex. Envoy is not really a face smash type player. He's more of like a route taker, more methodical. You know, they don't really have a guy like aBeZy, a guy like Shotzzy, a guy like Asim. Like, they don't got guys like that that are flying at hills and just being annoying, being a thorn in the side. CleanX, those kind of guys.
Honest, if I'm Thieves and I'm sitting in that call, I'm trying to pursue HyDra.
So I think the going theory is right now that Octane's probably got to go. Kenny to the many R seems to make the most sense. He did it last year. Kenny on a sub, I feel like, yes, he can run a sub very effectively. We know that. But like, it might take some transition time for him to be effective on that very fast-paced role. I think it makes more sense, to be honest. Put him on the main assault rifle. Like, put Drazah on the flex. Keep Envoy as the kind of route man SMG. And then you need an aggro SMG. You need an aBeZy or a CleanX, which actually is quite an interesting discussion. Because, I mean, who knows? 100 Thieves, they like to spend the bag in situations like this. They did it with Huke last year. Now, maybe it's not always particularly well placed because they bought Huke and then didn't really work out there to sell him onto Los Angeles Guerrillas, presumably for a pretty sizable loss. But still, at CleanX, given the way Toronto Ultra are looking right now, like there was also some talk from X about HyDra right on New York, even though I'm not sure his playstyle would work perfectly in a team like this with Envoy. But still, CleanX seems to be the type of player they need. He's been pretty good in this game, and you can say, look, Toronto would be stupid to let him go, as of course they would, but you know, money talks at the end of the day, and if the offer is there, then they can potentially make it happen. And we've seen 100 Thieves make big moves like this before, so I wouldn't be surprised if Nadeshot's considering, okay, what can we do here? Let's probably leave things into, I doubt they'll make a change before the major, but after the major in this off period, they've surely got to be putting their hand in the pocket and trying to figure something out to make some serious move to upgrade this team. Whether it's a 1 or even a 2-person change, who knows what they're planning to do. We got to talk about the games then going on tonight, as Tim says getting faded after a W got to be the best stuff in the world. My nose is running with a smile on my face, so you know, good to see Donny Teb having a good time. I thought this was a phenomenal tweet, to be perfectly honest. These, though, the stage 2 standing. So, Breach 3-0, OpTic 3-0. Both of those teams play later today, not against each other, though, obviously, this stage. But so, yeah, Thieves 0-4, 12th on the standings. And yeah, Ultra, Surge, Legion, and Thieves, the bottom 4 teams right now. New York actually 1-2, where they play Minnesota Rokkr tonight. But Rokkr in a tough spot, because they're 2-2, but their map win record is not particularly good at all. Worse than Florida's. So they kind of need to win tonight. If they lose against New York, there's a very solid chance indeed they will find themselves in the losers bracket in the major again at their own home major. These then are the 4 games of today. So Surge versus Thieves. I think Benji and Asim called it like the blow it up ball or something like that. Both these teams obviously been struggling as of late. I don't know. Maybe Thieves can bounce back yet. I kind of doubt it. I feel like Surge are going to smell blood in the water, to be honest, and then kind of come out here and win this one. Maybe 3-2. I don't know. Like, I feel like Thieves, they're in their heads at this point where they can probably take a series to a game 5, but I feel like having got to a game 5, they'll kind of, in the back of their mind, they'll know they've already lost it because they keep doing that every single time. So I think I'm taking Surge 3-2. Then Boston versus Florida. Right now, I think the Boston are probably the better team. Florida can always win a series like this. There's no doubt. But, you know, I want to keep my faith in Boston, to be honest, because they've been looking very good as of late. I feel like I always kind of underestimate them to a degree. So I'm going to take them to win this series. Then OpTic LAG. Very interesting one, actually, because LAG definitely on the up as of late. OpTic 3-0, number 1 team in the game, at least in my opinion. But, I mean, still, they're probably going to test out a few different things in terms of maps on this game. They're probably going to throw in a Berlin hardpoint, right, where Los Angeles Guerrillas kind of like it. So there's a potential they lose that one. I still think that OpTic win this series, probably 3-1. But if Berlin hardpoint is game 4, then maybe it's going to be a 3-2 in their favor. I still think they have enough clutch factor to win this series. And then New York versus Minnesota Rokkr, an incredibly crucial series. I guess it might not be the greatest one on paper, but it's really important because New York and Minnesota both need to win this pretty much to get winners brackets. To me, I'm actually going to take New York 3-1 here. I was impressed by what they did last week up against the Paris Legion. Minnesota have not convinced me so far that this is actually going to work out. And maybe if it goes game 5, Minnesota Rokkr should be favorites. But I feel like before that, New York have actually showed more promise in the hardpointers of late. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit in a like button, tell us the YouTube gods, it's a good video, others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care, and I will see you next time.